Wizards, welcome back. Now I got one today that I'm really excited about and I've been geeking out for a while, and actually just got announced earlier this week at Soft Week. And I'm glad because I can finally talk about it because I leak horribly. Jason and I actually got to go all the way out to the Gentex facility and see how all these helmets were made, along with the insane amount of quality control that goes into each step. So after seeing all that, I'm really pretty excited to finally get my hands on it. That exciting new release we'll be looking at today is the updated OpsCore Fast SF helmet. Just to remove any confusion too, all the changes and updates I'm going to show you are just the new inline updates, so what all the new Fast SF helmets will be in the future. So there's not like SF 2.0, even though I think a lot of the changes are so huge that they could have done an entire iterative change to do a 2.0 version, but that's not what it is. It's just inline updates. With the new helmet, it also seems like they took an absolute ton of feedback from end users to fix things that you didn't like. It seems like they fixed some things that I didn't like to make a whole helmet system that just makes a lot more overall sense. It's definitely a tier that you would expect from OpsCore, I'll say that. I'll show you it all and exactly what I mean, but first, let's give some sponsor love. Today's video is sponsored in part by Nocturn Industries. Nocturn takes night vision to the next level with their all-new ruggedized Talon binocular. The Talon has a swappable battery cap for any power source, along with gain, power, and IR illuminator controls on a single knob. Plus, the single Talon binocular can be upgraded into the dual knob Raptor system. So from the new user to the operational professional, Nocturn Industries has you covered. We'll be diving into some Raptor and some Talon content when those release a little bit later on, but a little bit sooner, we'll be looking at the Nocturn Alpha mount and see how that compares against the Wilcox G24 and the Norotos Lowstow and see which one comes out on top. But as always, you can use discount code TLDco over on anything on the Nocturn website also to save a bunch. Love me some Nocturn because they're just some fantastic people. And that's a pretty good segue into my biases because I am probably one of the biggest OpsCore fanboys. I also really love all the people that work over there, and it's really one of the rare bits of gear I just completely splurge on. OpsCore did send me this helmet to show off to you, but I also have my own SF helmet setup that I've purchased myself. Getting to visit the Gentex facility was just crazy to see how long some of the employees had been there. And Jason and I love talking to everybody and just hearing all the individual Gentex stories, like what their path was and how they got there, even though we're supposed to be focusing on the tour. But even with that, I want to say it's thanks to our Patreon supporters that we can say and do whatever we want. Like, I'm going to show this off. I'm pretty much geeking out about it, but I could say it's no good, or I can tell you what's good and what's bad about it. With that, I always caveat with this important one. Don't take anything that I say or any other YouTuber says as gospel. We're all biased in some way, and if someone is telling you they're not biased, they're probably selling you something. Remember that. Do your own research so you can become the most educated consumer possible. All right, so you guys probably already know I'm already in love with this helmet, but let's answer that question of what is the new OpsCore Fast SF and why should you care? I mean, I know I care. I'm pretty much geeking out about it. The new Fast SF has weight reduction in the shell while still providing the exact same ballistic protection, along with a host of upgrades with the new lockdown liner and Headlock Flex system that synergize together in a smart way to bring you what they call the new standard for ballistic performance and enhanced comfort. It was very interesting too when I asked the why, like why bother to improve on a helmet system that's already pretty successful? Like why spend all that R&D time and energy? And they let me know that they're like, hey, we see all these military members that come back from deployment or end their career, and they all have back and neck injuries. So they wanted to do their part to improve these products and help those guys out in the field to cut down on the injuries. I thought that was pretty awesome. As a retired first sergeant, my back is pretty jacked. And I had a ton of members that I helped to separate or to retire that just had a load of these injuries. So it's a pretty big hat tip from me that a company is willing to look beyond just a single deployment and look at the career of the entire soldier also and actually do something about it. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but actually giving a crap about veterans instead of just saying you are is oddly refreshing. But let's actually get into this helmet. Let me show you all the details about it and then let's just load it the hell out. So here is the new Fast SF all in black now to show you a bit more of an LEO loadout. Now, those of you that are familiar with these helmets may see the top Velcro pattern has changed a bit and now mimics more of the fast bump with the front Velcro removed. I like this because outside of a helmet cover, I wasn't really ever connecting something into like the forehead area of my helmet. That Velcro just wasn't doing a whole lot, but you can still add in your helmet covers if you want to add it back in. And since it's still the same SF helmet profile and super high cut, like all the rest of it is still the same shape, you can still do that if you want to add that functionality back in for some random reason. If you're ever trying to ID the new one versus the old one, probably the fastest way to tell the differences with the new Velcro pattern though. Setting things up, we'll go ahead and hook in our Nocturn backpack into the rear so we can have our counterweight and power source in one. See, I even covered it in black. Now you can use this ARC cable management clip to hold our cord if we take our battery pack on and off a lot, but I'll show you how to set it up with the Powerpath Rail for a much sleeker system if you leave everything connected. Now, one of the most significant upgrades is the helmet shell itself. It's been lightened significantly to cut 10 to 15% of the weight, depending on the size of the helmet, while still retaining all of the same ballistic performance. Now, I'm impressed here, and I don't think we've actually gotten into the cool stuff, because when we start talking about weight, the difference in the new SF Ballistic and like the bump helmet version is about a deck of playing cards. Obviously, there's some cost savings that come with the bump, but in a lot of training scenarios, I would pretty much use the bump helmet to save myself some additional weight, as long as I didn't load this one the hell out. But nowadays, they're so close in terms of weight, I don't think it makes a ton of difference. And maybe I'll even weigh both the bump and the ballistic when we get everything all finished, just to see how they compare in their final loadouts. Flipping this over though, let me show you all the new that's inside here. The old Lux liner is gone, and now there's the new lockdown liner. This removes a lot of that skateboard style shell and gives you padding and protection only in the areas you need, while also giving you a ton more airflow around the head. On my original SF helmet, I actually removed the lockdown liner and did some upgrades to it just so it had a better fit on my head. And the guys over at Defense Mechanisms made a whole video about how you can improve the older design. So it's awesome to see a lot of those upgrades already incorporated, and you don't have to go back and change things and move things around and find better pieces. It's all just done already. Now the liner uses those old standard padding blocks, but now included are the fit shims. These allow you to get a better fit by placing the shims in areas where you feel the helmet may just not be tight enough. Like if you have a large head like me, but for some reason it's super thin, you could add some shims onto the side to help it fit on your head better. Or if you have a big pancake head, you could add some pads to the front, I guess. Whatever you want to do, the shims work pretty well. I also like this a lot because in the old one, you'd get like 1/2-inch pads and 3/4-inch pads and inch pads, and you have all these different pads. We had to figure out what exactly fit. So this is just a lot better where you add in the shims where you need it. And it also makes it a whole lot cleaner if you have a buddy that needs to borrow your helmet. You can just adjust the shims for them instead of having to keep tabs on 800 billion little pads. Now, as before, you can also just remove the middle and side pads so you can run your amps or other earpro and comms in a headband configuration. The headband configuration is probably my absolute favorite because usually I'm on the range and I want to have my headset on, but I don't always want to keep my helmet on. Like if it's hot or gross out, I want to be able to take that helmet off and still have all my earpro on. But I never really ran it that way because it was never very comfortable, and kind of why I would change out the liner system to try to make that whole system work better for me. But the new Fast SF, the way it's designed, is like 1 billion times better, but there's a couple other pieces I got to show you to kind of explain the why. Now, part of why it's better is because the entire Nape padding and tightening system has been changed. Now the OCC dial is much larger and allows for a wider range of adjustment also. But here's the important part. When tightening, pressure is placed forward and backwards now, instead of just tightening all the pressure around the head in a circle. So when you tighten the helmet, it now doesn't just smash your earpro into your head in weird places. It's just a world more comfortable, and the dial is just a ton more awesome than the old one that I didn't really love. The best part about this too is the new liner system, the pads, the OCC dial, all of this stuff can be retrofitted into the older style Fast SF helmet too. So you don't have to buy a whole new helmet just to get the majority of the new features. You can also retrofit the Powerpath rails, but we haven't gotten to those yet. Now, there is one more thing I want to talk about on the inside that all my bearded bros are going to love. Now, the chin strap, this thing's kind of special. This is what they call the Headlock Flex system, and it's convertible, meaning you can run things like normal with a standard chin cup where you look like a goober, or you can push the system backwards under the chin, whichever is more comfortable. But this also allows you to have an O2 or CBRNE mask, and you no longer need a little extender thing along the bottom. This is just one of my favorite bits because, well, number one, it's super smart. And number two, you don't have to keep tabs on an extra little dangly extender thing. It's all just built in and smart all the time. Flipping back over to the outside again, at the front of the helmet is what I've always considered one of the best shrouds on the market. This looks unchanged, but it's already great with captured bungees and latches on the end for our eyelets to connect into our night vision easily. I say this every time in hopes that people are actually listening to me. Use really good retention with your night vision. I always hear stories about someone losing their night vision by not having it connected or having like a Velcro retention where it just falls off and the Velcro falls off with it. So use good retention, please. Now, I thought this was really cool too. The NVG mount arm bumpers are included with the helmet, and you can attach these to remove any movement or wiggle between the NVG arm and the helmet. Here we'll connect in our Wilcox G24 light into our mount and connect in our Manicore R into the dovetail. Now, I think a lot of our veteran users just use cardboard, like usually we just jam it in there to take some of that, wiggle out of there. But the cardboard can get wet and gross over time, so I really like how this is included and that it works well. It's just smart and makes it a better end user experience when you don't have to source extra pieces later. I will say though, Nocturne, we need to do the alpha mount. This G24 is just boo-boo. I did hear the alpha mount is half the weight of the G24. So if that's the case, the alpha mount could make the weight and functionality of this thing even crazier. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Now here on the side of the helmet, we see the same ARC Rail system, but as we said, there's some cool ways we can power our night vision since the new ARC Rail has the Powerpath upgrade. This is another quality of life thing because I guess back in the day with the old rails that OpsCore used to use, people would Dremel out the back of these and on the front so they could run their cords through it. And now it's just something that OpsCore includes with everything. Now though, if you just got your helmet that's been sitting in supply for like the last decade, it's probably, or maybe doesn't have the Powerpath upgrades. So tell your supply to get with OpsCore and retrofit these guys, because I will say having the Powerpath rail with night vision and a power solution just makes for a really nice integrated overall setup. Let me show you. If we unscrew the main bolts, the side rail itself comes off, and you can see there's a channel to place your power cords. You actually have a few options if you want to run it down low to the rear or have the cable exit more towards the top. Our cable from the backpack goes directly upward, so I'll run our power through the middle Powerpath channel. Now we can just lock it all back down, and you can see here we have a much cleaner and secure power solution. I don't take my battery pack off and swap it to different helmets, so I like using the Powerpath rails. But if you did swap things a ton, you could just use that ARC cable management clip I showed you earlier and clip it in the top two, and you could just do it that way. Now, the ARC rail is what makes this helmet OpsCore, and the modularity of what this thing can do is by far my favorite part. We can just slide on helmet lights like the full-featured Princeton Tech Max IR. This guy is awesome because it has two small red and white lights, but has a huge IR light, meaning you can do room and canopy spill without having some huge full-size flashlight glued to your head. We can also add in our step-in visor clips and connect in our visor with tinted, clear, or even laser dazzle or photochromatic lenses, so you can do whatever the heck your mission set calls for. The side clips also allow us to connect in our solder mask with quick clips if you're getting into areas with a lot of dangerous debris or stuff in the air that you don't want to breathe. And the side rails allow us to use the amp arms to connect our headset into the side of the helmet to keep everything secured together. And at this point, with all the features, all the modularity, and all the comfort, you can do some absolutely crazy things, and it's why I consider OpsScore the top tier in terms of gear and equipment. And I'm definitely geeking out about this whole setup, but this is one of the rare instances where, it's designed so well that I probably won't run the amp arms this time, and I'll probably just do the regular headband configuration because it actually is comfortable. The piece they just need to figure out how to do is the step-in visor. Like if they made a lens that I could also keep on my face to keep my eyes on my ears and take my helmet off, that would be awesome. But from inside and out, that's the whole new Fast SF helmet. And I'm really just geeking out about all the different things and all the integration that you can do with it. Like the actual solder mask is integrated into the amp headset, so you have functional comms even when wearing a protective O2 mask. So it's just all very smart. So let's do a couple pros and cons. The first big pro, I think this is my favorite out of all of them, all the upgrades that you would want to do, they're already there. With the new lockdown liner system, you get better airflow, better fit, with all the excess bits removed, along with being able to use it a ton better with your earpro. Everything on the inside of the Fast SF is a significant improvement, plus the new chin strap just makes life better for everyone. Tell your first sergeant they can eat it because now you can wear your gas mask with your helmet just fine. I always thought that was a kind of cop-out and stupid justification anyway. I guess the look of clean-shaven 19-year-olds is super scary to someone. I've just never met them. My favorite part about this, though, is that I don't have to take anything apart. It's all ready to go. And this is the big one that I mentioned earlier. All of this can just be retrofitted. Like if you wanted the new features, you can just add them all in. So that's pretty crazy. All right, my next big one that I've always loved every time I talk about these helmets is the ARC Rail system and those Powerpath rails. I really think OpsScore is the one to beat with their helmet attachment system. It's just easy to add in lights, pick rail segments, eye pro, ear pro, hell, whatever. There's no guesswork here also. Plus the Powerpath rail means you can make a nice clean solution for your cables that are clean and tucked away. The entire ARC Rail system is just modular and smart. I know I had some Team Wendy's, like when we did some reviews, I would look at the Xfil 3.0 system and I'd just be like, I don't know what's going on here. And I do not have that problem with this system. All right, I'm geeking out about the ARC Rail system. I have one more pro, and it's just how all the upgrades work together to just make one pretty crazy system. All the pieces just work together, reducing weight and tightening in a smarter way to keep the whole helmet secure while also reducing hotspots. Every angle of the helmet gives you a next-gen feature that complements the next one. And it's just a great product. Plus, all the new upgrades are included without any sort of change in price. So it's kind of nice that they're not going to nickel and dime you and increase the cost because they added some features that are really, really pretty good. Now, though, we got to get into a couple cons, and that leads us into the elephant in the room. The real major con of this is the cost. The Fast SF is no doubt expensive, but if we're going to buy once, cry once, this is where you do it to get the top tier features and ballistic protection that just won't break your neck later. I mean, I'm sure you could double the weight and cut some of these features out and save an absolute ton of money. I won't disagree with you there, but you just wouldn't be at the same tier of product anymore. So yeah, price is definitely there, but what you get is also a little bit nuts. Now, I'm struggling a little bit to think of any cons outside of the price. I guess if I had to be super nitpicky, I wish the dial had ratcheting clicks so I knew when I was tightening or when I was loosening. But I'm really just being nitpicky. I never had any issue with it coming loose. And I really liked this whole system just straight out of the box. better than my whole upgraded SF setup that I did myself. But that's the whole helmet. I don't think I can go on about it anymore. So I think this one's going to be a big surprise to everyone. What are my final thoughts and rankings about the new OpsCore helmet? The upgrades on the new Fast SF Ballistic helmet are just fantastic. From cutting weight to a far better inner liner and tightening system, to the new chin strap that can be adjusted for face mask and beard, this helmet really shows off what it means to be OpsCore. Combine that with the Powerpath ARC Rail and the new Fast SF just does everything and does it better than everyone else. For that reason, I placed the new Fast SF in S tier for being the uncontested best of the best on the market. And yeah, I could take some points off for the price because, you do have to save up a bit for it, but at least they kept the price the same while still giving you all the new upgrades. So that is a pretty solid hat tip to the consumer, at least. Me though, I really love the new design and kind of how I was alluding to. I want to go retrofit my old SF because I do think a lot of the features and integrations are a significant improvement. Mostly because you could tell from the range footage, I can wear my amps in a far more comfortable configuration. Now, the thing I want to also mention is having all these upgrades in the new Fast SF makes an absolutely nutty base platform if we were to take things up a level. So stay tuned and we'll show you how to upgrade your helmet with the new Railink configuration that gives a next generational leap in terms of power and integration along with features. I think that'll be wild because right now with Railink, I think the current generation is just showing what current generation helmets do, but we haven't really stepped further beyond that to see past the limitation of current helmets. Like what happens if you add in shot detection and now you have triangulation of position? I think it can be a little bit crazy and I'm excited to play with it all and see where that technology can go. Plus, maybe we could do some absolutely crazy stuff with Nocturn and some Chimera type action. But I hope this video on the new OpsCore Fast SF was helpful in your purchasing decisions. I want to say thanks to all of our Patreon supporters and our YouTube members. You make it possible we can test all this gear out, show it off to you, and then you can make the decision as to what gear best fits your mission set and your budget. And I want to say thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below what you think about the new Fast SF, like what feature you think you'd want to retrofit over. I think the Powerpath Rail is probably the easiest one, but I want to hear from you guys, or if you have a helmet that you think is better, and we can compare to this one. I want to test it. I'll see. All right, everyone, Walsh out. All right, so I definitely love this helmet. Black is definitely a vibe. I didn't think I was gonna love all black this much, so maybe we'll go a little bit crazy with just black. But let's weigh these guys. I know I said I would do it in the video. I never bothered to. So I'm gonna take some of the night vision off and a couple other pieces so that the bump helmet and this ballistic version are the same. So you can kind of get a realistic comparison, like the backpack's gonna be on this one and that has a counterweight. So they'll be similar but different, but I want you to see kind of how they compare when we have a similar setup in terms of weight. Okay, here is the OpsCore. I took a couple pieces off so they're similar. Let's see what this one is. So about 3 pounds, 8 ounces. Let's see the bump now. Okay, kind of similar. Well, let's take it down off. Let's kind of throw us off. Okay. £3 pounds, 4 ounces. So yeah, the difference of like a deck of playing cards.